Well, Rosemary, obviously this is an extraordinary situation here. Indeed, this may become the press conference of the Iraq War that everyone will remember. Now, President Bush arrived in the country late this afternoon local time on a surprise visit. Now, he was actually here on essentially a farewell tour. It's his fourth visit to the country, and it's the first time he's actually left the bubble of a US military base. Now, during a press conference with the Iraqi Prime Minister, we've seen the scenes, and we keep seeing them, and we're gonna keep seeing them. This is where an Iraqi television correspondent for an Iraqi network stood up and threw first one and then a second shoe at President Bush, nearly missing his head in one case, if not for the reflexes of the president himself. Now, President Bush, once order was restored and the journalist was dragged out screaming by the Secret Service and others, attempted to turn the moment to his advantage and saying that this was actually an expression of something positive. This is what the president said.
So what if the guy threw a shoe at me? Oh, I consider it an important step on the road toward an Iraq that can sustain itself, govern itself, and defend itself. But let me talk about the guy throwing the shoe. It is one way to gain attention. It's like going to a political rally and having people yell at you. It's like driving down the street and have people not gesturing with all five fingers.
And whilst that may be true in many environments, what President Bush said, in Iraq it has a very different resonance, far more than just driving down the street. In this culture, throwing a shoe at someone is all but the ultimate insult. And generally, it's reserved only for the most hated. And we saw that in the days after the invasion when the Saddam statue was pulled down and the Iraqis hopped on and started slapping the statue with their shoes. And indeed, just a few weeks ago, in a massive demonstration against America here in Baghdad, we saw Iraqis throwing their shoes at what? An effigy of President Bush himself, perhaps prophetic, Rosemary.
Indeed. I mean, it begs the question, what's likely to happen to this guy?
Well, we're all wondering that right now. I mean,